Hey everyone, Leo with Dreaming Tree, and welcome to the assembly video for our Carly greeting card. This is sort of a continuation of some of the cards we released in the past, most notably our fashionable ladies. We wanted to do a kind of a hippie version of a fashionable lady, and we named her Carly after the one and only Carly Simon from the 70s. And we're going to begin by taking a look at our card base, which I have here. I've already folded it. I've opted to use the solid scoreline version of the card so that the little fold on the side looks nice and clean. And we're going to begin by putting our little panel on the inside. This is where you're going to write your little note, do your stamping, have your machine, do the writing, whatever it may be. And of course, this card doesn't really include any captions. It's very general, which means that it can be adapted for a variety of things. It doesn't really need to have anything specific on the front. You can obviously add whatever you'd like. But on the inside here, just make sure as you place this down, you try to maintain an even white border all the way around. And of course, ink anything and everything you can to really make this thing pop. You can see I added a little bit of pink ink to the pink insert on the inside. Okay, so let's start layering here. And the large sections here, we're going to begin with the yellow section. Okay, so that's going to go right on the front. It's going to be completely flush all the way around. And it's a little difficult, but with the felt applicator, you can get in there and do a little bit of inking on these little sun rays here. So if you want to do that, definitely take the time and do that. I'm going to do a thin line around the perimeter, and I'm ultimately going to dab with my finger to thin out, and then nice and quick go through the rest of this and just try to get as much glue as I can on as much of the surface as I can without going too crazy. Okay, like this little area up here where it's really thin. Just kind of dab that with my fingers, spread that glue out a little bit. We can always go back in and clean things up if necessary. I'm going to unfold this just so I can get a better visual on my placement. You want to make sure that it's nice and flush with the top and the right-hand side as well as the bottom. And then the area here next to the actual fold should just fall into place. Press that down. It's going to be a quick little card. Carly's accessories for her outfit are probably going to be the most time-consuming part of the assembly, but really not that bad at all. Okay, so that's in place. Next, we're going to put down this blue layer, and I probably could have inked around here, and I still may do that. Yeah, let's do that. Let's finish it off because I feel like I don't want to miss out on that. So I just use a nice felt applicator, and we're going to go down to about here because that's where our green layer will begin, so we don't really need to ink below that. So this is pretty much my process here. I'll just go through, and with a pretty repetitive sort of swipe, I'm hitting the edge and slightly tapping the surface of the cardstock here, just to add a little bit of color to it. I don't want to overdo it here. I just want to hit it and blend it so it blends in with the clouds nicely. You can see I hit the clouds there with a little bit of ink. Just want to get that nice deeper blue around the perimeter just so that it matches the aesthetic on the clouds. And sometimes I try to ink as much as possible beforehand because you don't want to watch me ink for 20-30 minutes. It's not really the most educational. Okay, and then as I mentioned, the cool thing about this is you can really get that applicator on the inside as well. Sometimes it's a little difficult to get into little corners, but I'm not overly concerned about trying to get every single inch of this covered. I'm more concerned about trying to make that the very edge of this bluish cardstock show a little bit of that dark blue. I think that's pretty good. There we go. That's fine. I'm happy with that. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this glued into place. We've got a lot of surface area down here that's nice and thick, so we can be a little more generous with the glue there. And then I will do a nice thin little line around the rest of this. And any areas where I think it might kind of spill out, just dab that with my finger. Need a little more there. Okay, and maybe just unfold this. And I'm going to match up the thin area up at the top first, since it's a little flimsy. I don't want that to be bouncing around too much. And then take a look at the side and the bottom, and then bam, it should sit nicely. We can always go in and, using my little scrap paper technique, can always add a little extra glue in any area that isn't sitting completely flat. It's not a big deal. Always go in and fix things. I'm taking a look and making sure everything is nice and flush around the perimeter. That looks good. Okay, so that worked out nicely. All right, next, I'm going to grab this part here, and this is going to go flush at the bottom. This should also be flush left and right, and go just slightly below this little white cutout there. Okay, so let's flip that over, apply our glue. So the card base is just a few layers, and Carly and her guitar are probably going to be the most involved, but not difficult at all. There we go. A beautiful little background. And we have this little flower sun sort of thing going on there. So make sure we get all those pieces out. Okay. Next, we have this piece. It's going to go right here. Got a nice little pattern. And again, flush at the bottom, flush on the left, flush on the right. So let's get that glued into place. There we go. Very careful not to get your glue all over the place. Flip that over. Just kind of use your fingers to feel, to make sure everything is sitting nice and flush. May not always work out perfectly, but that looks pretty good to me. Make sure that's still standing up nicely. It is. Okay, we have one more little strip like this, and you'll notice there's a set of score marks here to help you with the placement. The little score lines are going to be just below this little element. Okay, and again, make sure it's flush left side and right side. And very easy on the glue here. We don't need a lot to hold this in place. There we go. And use those little score lines to help you with the placement. Whoops. There we go. It worked out nicely. Okay, we have a series of little clouds. And of course, we're going to go from largest to smallest. And this one's going to go right on top. And then for a third tone, we're going to put that one there. And they just kind of layer on top of each other. And you'll notice we have little score marks here, here, and here to help you with the placement of this element. And then everything else will go on top. And we'll be using this as a shadow layer, which will be our guide for placement. Okay, see this little V here? Just make sure you get that little area in there. And where's our third one? There it is. Okay, gotta give that a little nudge. Perfect. Okay, looking good. We'll grab our next layer. So when just trying to figure out a name for this lady, just thinking about the ladies from the 70s. I thought Carly Simon, Stevie Nicks, Janis Joplin, who else? There's a few other names that I can't recall right now. And I just thought with the hair that Carly was the most appropriate. I like that. That name's a little more modern as well, so we went with that. Oh, there's also Carole King. I don't know if I mentioned Carole King. That was probably my number 2 choice. But anyway, back to kind of circling back to the conversation I was having in the previous video. Yeah, that's basically the soundtrack of my, of my high school life, I guess you'd say, because as I mentioned before, during the hippie bus assembly video, the first car that we had access to, a buddy of mine's, didn't have a CD player, so we listened to the radio. And in the Chicago area, it was 97.1 FM, The Drive. Okay, so let's go ahead and take this little piece here. This is going to create a little flower that's going to go right here, kind of like a little puzzle, right in between these clouds here, and basically creating a flower-shaped sun that's setting. Pretty trippy. Okay. I'm going to put this right here, like so. And then we have one more little half circle. It's going to go between these 2 points here, just slightly to the right of the point on the left. So let me grab my pick-me-up tool so that you guys can see this a little better. I mean, once I get it in place, you'll be able to see it completely, but I figured I'd just do it this way. Okay, and right about there. And yeah, it looks pretty good. Okay, all right, so that's all in place, and that's pretty much it for the card base. We're ready to put Carly together, and start off with the largest pieces here. Okay, so the layer with the hair, this layer here is going to be the backmost layer. Then we're going to take this layer here, which is essentially the skin tone layer. So if you want to change up the skin tone, this is the layer that you want to focus on here. Okay, so let's get that glued down. This entire thing will be making contact with the previous layer. So go ahead and feel free to apply glue to the entire layer. And we're just going to kind of build her from the bottom up. You can see she's got some nice denim jeans. If you guys want to get crazy, you can find a pattern that maybe, actually you might even be able to emboss the jeans so they look like corduroys, which would be kind of cool. I personally like the hippie girl look with denim jeans. Okay, so just match that up. She's got some nice flowers in her hair, and kind of sort of like a platform shoe thing going on. I don't know the correct terminology for that, but either way. Okay, next we have this layer here, and I just inked the arm. The main reason we have this here is to make the hand look a little more natural. Okay, so that it looks, so you can actually kind of see that she's holding up a peace sign. Okay, so mostly what you want to focus on is maybe the elbow and making sure that you get that lined up correctly. The rest of it doesn't really matter. We added her top so that when we put the actual pattern on, it gives it a little extra dimension. So this is all by design to really make this look really cool. Okay, there we go. That looks great. Okay, so that layer is in place. At this point, we can start, let's put together her little flowers on her hair. Like I said, we're going to kind of work our way top down. And I noticed here that I didn't get enough glue on the hand. So what I'll do is just take a scrap piece of paper, a very thin application of glue on there. You can literally tuck that right behind the hand. Just paint a little extra glue on that and press it into place so it doesn't go anywhere. There we go. That looks great. Okay. And next, do the little green part of her little flower element here at the top. Just line that up as accurately as you can. There we go. And there are 3 different flowers that are going to go up there. There's 1, there's 2, and there's 3. We've got this little guy here. And if you take a look at this one here, there's one part of the flower that is a little bit longer, and that's going to go over to the bottom left. We do have some little markers there on the green part here, just to kind of help you with the placement of everything. Just like that. And of course, we got the center of a flower, which means great opportunity to add a little bit of bling, should you want to do that. Okay, let's put this little flower in place too. I just put one little dot in the center, and you want to keep the 2 petals, actually all 3 petals can sit right on top of the green part like that. Okay, and then let's get our pink part, and that's just going to go right to the right of our center flower. It doesn't really matter where it goes or how it is. You can rotate it however you want. But that looks cool, and we'll, like I said, add a little bit of bling to that. And Miss Carly has some aviator glasses. There they are. Okay. And you can see the little shadow part of the left lens. I guess that would be on the left, yeah, that would be on the left side of her face. So just match that up with that little shadow element. And the rest of it will just kind of fall into place. So this little section here almost looks like she has some alien eyes or something. Okay, just match that up like that. We're kind of going at a little bit of a curve. And then her lips, make sure that I have it. You'll notice that there are a set of markers for the top left and the top right part of the lip. Okay, I use this. And this is where this really comes in handy. I'll bring that down just a little bit. There we go, perfect. So just take your time, be very gentle with it. Okay, she's coming together, our cool little hippie girl. All right, next, the pattern piece for her top. I actually found a cool set of, I guess, 70s inspired patterns. This is probably something that they may have used. I don't see why not. That's going right there. Super cool. Okay, then we have these 2 pieces. Okay, so this next piece here, you'll notice that it's mostly flat on one side, on the longer side, and then on the other side it kind of goes up and then over, almost like the pitch of a roof. You want the pitch of that roof part at the top, facing up, not down. And that's going to go flush against the very base of her bottom there, or her top, I mean, the bottom of her top. Okay, and then we have this little strip that's going to go right in the center. Okay, and you'll notice that it's slightly angled on the left and right, and you want that angle, you want that to be angling down. Okay, so it's wider at the top and shorter at the bottom. It's very subtle, but you'll see it. And honestly, I think if you do it the wrong way, I don't even think anyone will notice because it's that subtle. But we're just letting you know how it was designed. There we go. Okay. Next, I should probably give her her jeans. Those are going to go right there. Obviously, you can see where the shadow element of it fits. So we can put the jeans in place because she's got a belt that we need to put on, and obviously you want to put the belt on top of the jean element. Otherwise it won't be visible. Okay, got a little bit of glue there. Oops. There we go. It'll dry clear, it's fine. All right, so just match that up. As accurately as you can. Perfect. Okay, let's find the pieces for the belt. We have that piece and this piece, and then of course the little buckle. And it's just those three pieces. Okay, this piece, you can see the little shadow element for where the buckle is going to be. You want that facing, it should be at the bottom of the belt, not at the top. Okay, and we want this to be flush with the top of the jean, like so. There we go. Again, this also has that little buckle element there, and this is going to go kind of like this and down, so that the end of the belt is kind of just hanging there. But match up that little center part. There we go. And then let's grab our little buckle and get that in place. Just doing little dots on this. Don't need a ton of glue for that one. And it's just going to go right there. Just like that. Okay. All right, let's get our shoes in place. And we're going to start off with these pieces here. And then on top of that, we'll go these little guys here. The rest, there are two little pieces for her hand, and those are actually going to go on the guitar. Once we have the guitar created, it's these little guys here. So definitely going to be helpful to have a pick-me-up tool of some sort to work with those pieces. Okay, and as for the shoes, we've got this one here is a little bit wider, and that's going to be her, this foot here, the right foot. I guess that would be her left foot. We're looking at it from not her angle, or not her vantage point, I should say. So let's get this part in place first, nice and easy with the glue. We're essentially like playing with paper dolls here. It's kind of cool. Okay, get the other one in place. And I tried to hit this with a little bit of ink wherever possible. It's such a delicate little piece that you may not be able to really get it completely covered. But most of it, there's a top layer that goes over it, so you don't really need to worry about inking all of it. Okay, so that looks good. Now we got this piece here. It's going to go right on top like that. Give that a two-toned look. Whoops, that really came out with a vengeance. If that happens, just take your finger and just dab it. Thin out that glue. It'll also make it nice and tacky, which means that it'll be a lot quicker to dry. Okay, line that up as accurately as you can. I got it spot on. Pardon my head if it's in the way. And the last one here. And so the guitar, since it's so small, we really thought about, oh boy, oh, that was a close call. Really thought about how we were going to represent the strings on it. You can, if you want, you can use some string to try to represent the actual guitar strings. We are going to actually just draw them in You could completely omit them if you are afraid it might turn into a huge mess. Totally up to you. Okay, but there's Carly. She looks great. And you'll notice that on right here on this bottom part, you'll have actually little markers to help you with the positioning. Okay, and we are going to take and foam square these, or foam square her onto the surface. I'm just trying to make sure that I didn't miss anything. I don't think I did. So let's get her in place, because the guitar is actually going to be foam squared as well. And then we're going to tie it in and put those two last little pieces of her hand onto the guitar to make everything look nice and seamless. Okay, and I'm going to be generous with my foam squares here. Probably put some on her shoes too, just in case. There we go. Yeah, so all we really have left is putting together a guitar, and of course we have an envelope that goes along with it. It's actually a really cool one too. Okay, so let's get that going. And then I'll show you, I'm actually planning on drawing the strings in, and I played around with different methods of doing it. I think I found one that will work well. Okay, so again, look at those, look at the little markers there. There's two markers for each foot, and one is for the front toe as well as the heel portion of the shoe. There you go, look at that. That's cool just as is. Okay, you're looking good, Carly. Okay, so now let's grab our guitar, and we've got a few pieces for the guitar. And you'll notice that the neck has a set of score lines, and the bridge has 4 score marks. And we're going to use those as guides to draw in the strings. Okay, so we've got these 2 layers. They're going to go on top of each other. Then we've got this layer. It's going to go like this. And then we have one more layer that's going to go on top like that. Okay, so I'll do that one step at a time here. Take this solid layer, we'll grab this part here that has the little cutout for the bridge and the sound hole. Get that glued down, go easy on the glue here. And then maybe just pull some of that glue to get on the, boy, I should know this should know guitar anatomy better than I do. Those little things that you use to wind up the strings. Okay, match that up as closely as you can. There we go. Press that down. Okay. And next we can take the little bridge here, get that glued into place. That's going to go in like a little puzzle piece. You can see that at the bottom there. Okay, that fit in there beautifully. All right, next, we got this little piece with the little element at the bottom for the sound hole, just to kind of give that a two-toned look. Typically when they really embellish the area around the sound hole with all sorts of bling, even on guitars. I don't know exactly what type of material they use, but anyway, the more expensive guitars usually have that. Beautiful inlays, and I don't know what they use. Okay, so that goes right there. And then finally, excuse me, this piece, we got one more piece for the neck, but this is our next little piece here. And again, maybe throw a little extra dot on there and then dab that with your fingers and hit those little circles where they're used to tighten the strings. Okay, let's line that up. And I'm kind of looking at where the hand is going to be, as well as these little the 6 little gears or whatever you want to call them. There we go. That's a good looking guitar thus far. Okay, and then the neck, get that glued down. Okay, so again, I'm not, as far as like making this as real as possible, to me, it doesn't look too bad. And here you can see here her little fingers. You're gonna match that up with the existing ones. I'm not overly concerned about not having the strings on there. I still think it looks cool. Okay, so I might just leave it as is. But one thing that I discovered that you can do is, for one, I found that it really helps if you are going to draw in the strings. It really helps to just put this down on something sticky so it doesn't move, okay? And then grab yourself a ruler, and for some reason my ruler just disappeared. So I'm gonna use something flat, like some cardstock. Hopefully this is, yeah, it's an old one. And you can use these little lines here that we created and match these up. Okay, so there's 4 lines. Technically this is a 6-string guitar, but there's no way we're getting 6 strings on here. So line up the first one on the left to the first one on the left here, and it'll create a nice straight line for you. And if you have a ruler, you can kind of glue that down to your mat too. And then just very gently with, in my case, you probably, I mean, if you want to stay true to, you know, true to the actual guitar, I'd make the strings a darker color, black preferably. Okay, so one thing you can do, you'll notice that we do have some horizontal markers here too. If you want to draw in the little fret dividers, you can do that. I've got just a white marker, or I'm sorry, a white pencil. It's such a thin little area, and I don't even want to mess with it. Like cutting stuff out would be kind of obnoxious, so I'm just kind of just drawing it in with a colored pencil. You've got little lines there that you can use to guide you. Yeah, you know, I just decided that I didn't really like that. Like I said, it's such a small little area. I'm okay with just the guitar being plain, and I'm gonna leave it as is. And what's left to do here now is to take and put this part of her hand here, try to figure out, yep, just match that up, because she's basically holding the guitar. Okay, so I kind of, when I ink this, I inked it so it almost looks like she has nail polish on. So just ink the one side where her nails would be. I just want to match that up with the little scallops there on the side of the guitar. Let me make sure that's over to the left as far as it can go. There we go. And then we've got the thumb. It's going to go right there. You can kind of see where it needs to go. Just put a little dab of glue on there. I don't know, it's personal preference. You can try to draw the strings in if you really want to. I don't think I'm going to do that. I'm all for realism, but not at the expense of aesthetics. If it looks kind of cheesy, I'm going to opt to not do it. Okay, so that's where her little thumb goes. So you can see she's kind of holding the guitar. I'm gonna match that up with her existing hand there. Okay, so to get this on there now, all we need to do is put half of a foam square right at the neck. I wouldn't worry about putting anything here, and then just do a handful just to make sure you cover every possible contact point at the bottom. And just match it up with the hand there. You can kind of angle it a little bit. Just match that up. And there we go. Okay, so there's our beautiful card. That is ready to go. And all that's left now is to put our little envelope together. So let's do that. Okay, so here is the envelope, the base of the envelope. Just go ahead and fold everything at the score marks. And what we're gonna do is take this piece, and this is kind of like an overlay, or an underlay, I guess you can call it, for the flap. So let's do this. Let's fold it this way, kind of isolate it, and apply our glue to this part here, all the way around. There we go. Okay. And take this piece, just kind of push it up against the score mark, make sure it's centered, and then just bring this down and press down. Should line up nice and accurate. There we go. Okay, then we have this little strip here, and there's one side that has kind of a sharp point that's going to be on your left. And it's going to go right there, give it sort of a three-toned appearance. Really embrace the vibrant colors of the 70s. I know there's that wasn't always the case, especially with home decor and home furniture. Those greens and those yellows, man, oof. They're not bad, but boy, whoever decided on that color. I guess it was kind of earthy, and maybe it made sense at the time. I don't know. And who knows? Maybe it'll make a comeback at some point. I just saw the Brady Bunch house is actually up for sale, and they recreated it to be like 100% accurate with the actual set. So that's kind of weird to live there, I think. Okay, so here we have this little flower. Just make sure you rotate it a few times to match it up so it looks accurate. Okay, because obviously it's not asymmetrical flower. So that's going to go right there. Nice and easy. Should have an even border all the way around. And then we have a little green piece that fits in there flush like a little puzzle. Should not have any space around it. Just pop that right in. And there you go. Okay, so there's our little decorative element for our envelope. Bring in the two side flaps, and you're going to apply glue right to the insides from here on down. I had a little too much there, so I'm just going to kind of flare that out and close it up. There we go. Okay, let's take a look at Carly there. She looks great. And of course you can see here, fits in there beautifully. So that's going to do it for Miss Carly here. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please take a moment, visit us on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. And while you're there, hit the little bell so that you get notifications anytime we release a new product, whether it be paid or free. That's in case you don't subscribe to our newsletter or follow us on other social. It's very helpful. And if you make this or anything from our That 70s bundle, I'd love to see it, and so would the rest of our community. So head over to your Facebook and do a search for Dreaming Tree Official. That's where you'll find myself, as well as the 40,000 plus other dreamers that inspire us daily. So anyway, I had a blast, hope you did too, and as always, I look forward to crafting with you again. Hey, thanks for crafting along with me. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, check out some of our other videos, and also please consider hitting that subscribe button. And don't forget to visit our site and check out our free SVG section, where we have over 140 free SVG files complete with assembly videos. I look forward to crafting with you soon.